Ladies and gentlemen, we can no longer leave any children behind. All right? When a child is left behind, that is a community problem. That's bigger than an individual family problem.
Said, you know, we really should try to bring together the community to focus on what we can do to save our youth, because that's the issue. Certainly there needs to be consequences for bad behavior and bad choices. But we can't continue to push more and more of our youth towards the future of being incarcerated, going to prisons. We can't afford to do that as a society. It's not healthy for anybody at any level of society. And so what this morning is about is, what do we as a community do to save our youth, to help them make the right kind of choices so that we have a future that we're proud of them and they're proud of themselves. And so that's what this is about. Through Mayor Ardis' office and through Representative Gordon and my office, we got together and did some planning, and I want to thank in particular McFarland Bragg of the Community Action Agency and Joyce Banks, who has been leading a wonderful project down at Manual High School, which you're going to be hearing more and more about in the future, because they are taking the issue of youth and issues that are surrounding our youth at all levels, really into making sure that we do some preventative work in this area.
You know, when we think about the things that it's going to take to turn our community around, it all starts with a conversation. It starts with dialogue. And the best way for that to happen is for all of us to come together from either side of town and sit down with one another, with a very diverse group, and talk about the solutions. Oftentimes, as we get together, you know, as a family, we always say we only see each other when there's a funeral. And oftentimes when we converse as community members, we oftentimes talk about all the problems that our community faces. Well, I guarantee you, all of you that have showed up here today, we know what the problem is. So not dwelling on the problem doesn't mean that we're ignoring it, because we all know it, and that's why we're here today.
I'm really excited. I haven't had a chance to talk with these two guys yet. But boy, they sure come highly recommended by McFarland and other folks that know what they're doing. And I think it's going to be important for us to hear from some people outside of the community. Talk to us about some of the things that we're doing that have been good, have been successful, they have worked in other places. And also, critique us a little bit. We're not afraid for some constructive criticism. That's why we're here. But let's talk about solutions. So welcome.
One of the things that we have found, or I have found difficult over the last few years in talking to our young people, they don't dream anymore. They don't have aspirations. We've got to get that back to them. We got to get back to them so that they can dream, so that they have aspirations to become something. Many of the kids that I talk to don't think they're going to live past 25. That's scary. That is scary.
What's going to happen today is we're going to break you guys up into some 4 groups, and we're going to talk about where those groups are. Where are my 4 group leaders? If you guys can stand up, 4 or 5 group leaders, just wave your hands in the air. Wave them just like Just Don't Care, like we're at a hip-hop concert.
They don't know that one.
They don't know that. No. So you guys are going to be broken up into 4 sets. Everyone turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, we are here to work.
We're here to work.
Turn to the other neighbor and say, neighbor, we are here to work.
We're here to work.
Turn to the other neighbor and say, neighbor. Somebody breath stank. No, I'm just kidding. See, when you do this work, you gotta laugh at yourself, because some of the things that we do in our communities is fun and it's crazy at the same time. Because some of the things that we do blow my mind. And it hurts me sometimes because our young people are constantly watching us. As we move throughout this day and as we move throughout the other days, we have to have young people at the table. We can no longer make decisions about young people and they are not here at all. And if you don't like young people, don't come in the room with them. We'll bring you in when it's time to bring you in. But they need to be here. Every movement from the civil rights, from Dr. King Day, to in South Africa and Nelson Mandela, where they just celebrate his release on 2 days ago. It was led by young people, but with elders at the table calling the shots. So you need to have those young soldiers that are fired up, who are ready to do the work. They will do the work, people. My more seasoned people. They will do the work if you give them an opportunity and stop telling them what they can't do. So I'm saying to you, if you want Peoria to survive, it's not going to survive on you. Especially if this healthcare plan don't get passed. That's another workshop. So we need to bring our young people to the table. So you ready? Ready. Fred Hammond has a song where he starts out and says, "Are you ready?" See, don't nobody go to church in there, see? Don't nobody know who Fred Hammond is. All right. Come back, we're going to talk about that later.
I'm going to make about 4 statements. If the statements apply to you, all I need you to do is stand up. For the adults here in the room, stand up if you were an honor roll student when you were in school. And pre-K doesn't count. If you were an honor roll student, stand up. Okay, you can have a seat.
They didn't have honor roll for some people.
Oh, okay, right. Stand up if you were a C, maybe a D student in high school. C or D student. Now let's be honest. See, this is the honesty assessment. Okay, keep standing. Let's see what we're working with. All right, you can have a seat. And that's for the panel too now. That's for the esteemed man. That's for the esteemed panel too. All right, stand up if you ever lied to your parents growing up. Let's see what we're working with. Okay, you can sit down. See, we getting to know each other as a family this morning. All right, and pay close attention. Stand up if you've ever broken the law. That includes speeding. All right, you guys can sit down. She said, "I just thought about it." Now, ladies and gentlemen, this question is not a trick question, but we really need to figure out who's going to be honest. All right, stand up if you've ever picked your nose in public. Stand up if you've ever picked your nose in public. A couple people still standing. Okay, you can have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, we can no longer leave any children behind. All right? When a child is left behind, that is a community problem. That's bigger than an individual family problem. Questions that we want you guys to think about that's going to guide the process. What role does the community play in improving the quality of life of children and families? How do we work together to make Peoria the flagship of the Midwest? How do we make Peoria the gold standard in the Midwest region? How do we create the level of synergy, the level of community support, the level of strategic partnerships where people want to move to this community from all over the country, where we can get businesses to reinvest back in the community? When we talk about keeping our eyes on the prize, you guys signed up for 4 working groups. And the goal of these 4 working groups is to really begin to talk about solutions. This is not the forum to complain about the school system, to complain about the police, to complain about social service agencies, to talk about why your grass doesn't get cut or the lot down the street is vacant. This is not necessarily that forum.